Introduction by David Godman. In the late 1920s, Muruganar, an accomplished Tamil poet who had lived with Bhagavan for several years, began to collect the verbal teachings of his guru, Ramana Maharshi. He recorded them in 4-line Tamil verses. No questions were recorded, just the answers and statements on a wide variety of spiritual topics. By the late 1930s, Muruganar had completed over 800 of these verses, virtually all of which recorded a direct teaching statement that Bhagavan had uttered. In 1939, a decision was made to publish these teachings in book form. Bhagavan then asked Sadhu Natanananda, a Tamil scholar and devotee, to arrange the verses by subjects since there was no particular order or sequence in the material that Muruganar had amassed. After Natanananda had done this work and shown it to Bhagavan, Bhagavan himself thoroughly edited the work, modifying the sequences and adding many revisions. In addition to making these textual corrections, Bhagavan also composed new verses that he added at appropriate places in the text. Because of the care and attention that Bhagavan put into checking and revising these verses, we can be sure that their contents have his full approval. Many of Bhagavan's verbal teachings were recorded during his lifetime, but few of them were reviewed and edited by him. Guru Vachaka Kovai is the biggest collection of Bhagavan's spoken teachings that was thoroughly checked and revised by him during his lifetime. As such, it has a unique place in the Ramana literature. A second edition of the Tamil work was brought out in 1971. This contained many additional verses that Muruganar had composed since the first edition of the book came out in 1939. This new edition of the work contained a total of 1,284 verses, 1,254 composed by Muruganar, and the remaining 28 by Bhagavan himself. Muruganar passed away in 1973. In 1980, Sadhu Om, Muruganar's literary executor, brought out a new edition of Guru Vachaka Kovai in which he rendered the original Tamil verses, which are often very difficult to decipher unless one has a good knowledge of Tamil literary conventions, into Tamil prose. He also added explanatory comments to many of the prose renderings. This book is the basis of the version I am including on this site. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, Michael James and Sadhu Om worked together on a translation of Guru Vachaka Kovai. Although all the verses were translated, along with many of the commentaries, the work was never published since Michael was not satisfied with the accuracy of some of the verses. In a conversation I had with him many years ago, he told me that he wanted to revise many of the early verses since he felt that some of them were somewhat loose paraphrases of the text, rather than literal translations. After Sadhu Om passed away in 1984, Michael suspended work on his translation of Guru Vachaka Kovai and switched his attention to other projects, such as bringing out the unpublished works of Muruganar and Sadhu Om. His manuscript of Guru Vachaka Kovai has therefore not been revised for almost 20 years. Over the years, I have shown Michael James's and Sadhu Om's version of Guru Vachaka Kovai to several people, and everyone has appreciated its rigorous literalness. Only one version of Guru Vachaka Kovai has ever appeared in English before, the one by Professor Swaminathan that was initially serialized in The Mountain Path and later published by Sri Ramana Maharshi. Professor Swaminathan's version attempted to retain the poetic element of the original, but in many places this resulted in a diminution of accuracy. Sadhu Om and Michael James decided that, since the verses recorded philosophical statements by Bhagavan, a literal translation would be of more interest to readers and devotees since an accurate rendering would fully reveal all the nuances of Bhagavan's teachings on many different subjects. A few months ago, I asked Michael if I could post his translation on my site since it appeared very unlikely that he would get round to making a final version in the near future. Michael agreed and asked that it be billed as a work in progress, not a completed work. I wish here to express my gratitude and appreciation to Michael for allowing this incomplete work to be given a public airing. The manuscript I worked with had many oddities and rough edges, most of which I have left untouched. I don't want to impose my own editorial red pencil on Michael's endeavors. I just want to express a wish that he one day complete the work and bring out a final, definitive version. I have, however, standardized some of the spellings and added attributions to the notes that follow many of the verses. Both Muruganar and Sadhu Om have written commentaries on Guru Vachaka Kovai. When these have been utilized, I have added the appropriate names at the top of the notes. When there are no published Tamil sources for the notes, I have attributed them to Michael James. However, since Michael worked closely with Sadhu Om as he was preparing these notes, I think it is safe to say that most of them represent supplementary verbal comments by Sadhu Om that Michael added in order to clarify the original text. Finally, Michael wishes to make it known that anyone is free to use this material. However, this does not mean that he is giving away any of the rights to this work. He intends to complete the editorial work one day and to bring out his own edition of the work. David Godman.
Sri Ramana Maharshi. The Light of Supreme Truth, or the Collection of Guru's Sayings. Prefatory Verses. Obeisance to the Guru. This light, i.e., these verses of the Guru's teachings, which destroys the base nature of mind, I and mine, shines as self, illuminating our hearts whenever we long with increasing despair for grace. The Eternal One graciously took the form of Guru, Ramana, and lovingly claimed me, who was a victim to the delusion, I am the body, as his own, reforming me with the sense, I am not this filthy, inert body. May my head rest beneath the feet of the benign, gracious, silent Guru. The perfect Jnana Guru, Ramana, ably and precisely presents the right meaning in many contradictory statements and passes apt judgment over various discussions, revealing the one supreme truth that lies in harmony among them all. May my head rest beneath his feet. Chapter 1. The Name and Origin of this Work. 4. This clear light of supreme truth was not lit by my innocent infant mind, which has not seen the truth. It was lit by the fully ripened supreme knowledge of my master, Sri Ramana. 5. Many instructions to root out ignorance, i.e., inattention to self, were given by my beloved, eternal companion, Sri Ramana, whose real form is that Sat-Chit, which exists, shines, and reveals itself as I. I now recount some of those instructions which my mind has grasped and preserved. 6. I, being there where Ramana embraced me, will recount a little of the nature of the supreme truth, which I have come to know in my life of divine union with him, my master.
Michael James. There where Ramana embraced me refers to the supreme state of being firmly established in self. Supreme truth alludes to the title of the whole work, The Light of Supreme Truth.
7. I now compose and string together all the supreme truth that I come to know through the divine glance bestowed upon me by my Lord Guru Ramana, who destroyed my delusion caused by the ego sense, leaving me in a state of clarity. Chapter 2. The Benefit or Fruit of this Work. 8. The benefit of this light of supreme truth is the understanding that there is not the least thing such as attainment, since the Supreme Self is the ever-attained one whole. Thus, the mental wanderings caused by striving towards Dharma, Artha, and kama are also removed.
Sadhu Om. Up till now, the Shastras have prescribed, as the rightful goals of human life, the following four aims: Dharma, the practice of righteous social duties; Artha, the acquisition of wealth through righteous means; Kama, the satisfaction of desires within righteous limits; Moksha, liberation, the natural state of abiding as self. This work, the light of supreme truth, shows us now that the first three worldly aims are futile and transitory, and thus it removes our wandering mental efforts to attain them. We may, however, still think, is not mental effort at least needed to obtain moksha? But again, this light shows us the meaninglessness of striving to attain self, which is ever attained, and instead it recommends the cessation of all mental activity, thereby fixing us in the eternal, motionless, and ever-attained state of self. Is there therefore any supreme goal other than that which is given here through this light of supreme truth? Refer to verse 1204.
9. Self, which is one's own true nature, is the substratum of all happiness in this and in other worlds. Therefore, to be firmly established in self, unshaken by thoughts concerning the various other paths, karmas, yogas, etc., which will lead only to the pleasures of this and of other worlds, is the fruit of this work. Chapter 3. The Submission to the Assembly.
Michael James. It was the tradition in ancient days for a writer to submit his work to an assembly of learned men. He therefore had to compose a verse of submission, requesting the assembly to correct any error found in his work.
10. When scrutinized, it will be found that these sweet verses of the collection of the Guru's sayings have not been composed by my dull and deluded thinking mind, but that they have been inspired without thought by the divine Venkatavan, Sri Ramana. 11. Why should I offer a submission to the assembly? For a work which has not been done with the sense of doership, the whole responsibility for this work belongs to Him, the Supreme Lord, Sri Ramana, whom even the great ones can realize only through the samadhi of mystic silence within their hearts. Chapter 4. Dedication.
12. Since it was my mother who helped me in giving me this birth to achieve the attainment, jnana, dispelling ignorance, I gratefully present this work to her. Let this be a dedication to her pure heart which knew not any deceit.
Chapter 5. The Author. 13. Kana Murugan, on Sri Muruganar, who through the look of grace has seen Chit, the grandeur of all wealth, is merely the divine feet of his master, Sri Ramana, strung into a garland some of his Guru's words and has given it to the world as the supreme treasure.